I was curious. I remember going to Bangkok, and it seemed like even in the middle of the busiest part of the city, there's like little shrines everywhere, like on every street corner, just out on the street and everything. Sorry, like like part of somebody's property, but it's out on, you can see it from the sidewalk and everything. I guess you can pray there or whatever. I
Hmm.
mean, do you think maybe part of the problem in our societies in the West is we're so secular that even our architecture is like with sort of modern architecture, postmodern architecture. It's all about this vision of the architect, and it's sort of in general, it's not very much about beauty, I think, and about uh, continuity with the other buildings or things like that. But anyway, do you think there's other things besides the number of people and just the lack of nature in modern uh, uh, large cities in the West, like lack of religion or certain kind of architecture, aesthetics that can contribute to alienation and
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so much so much comes up in that. For sure, I think the architecture that I see going up nowadays does feel lacking in beauty, does feel lacking in um the idea that the people who are going to live inside of it and pass by it
yeah,
have souls that appreciate
yeah,
anything other than utilitarianism. I think that's another way of showing the illegitimacy of the social structure.
mm,
Not to say exactly that it's oh, if we just had a different president, the architecture would change.
yeah, yeah,
But if we had a society where people remembered beauty and
yeah,
remembered like were able to appreciate that, and maybe that could come from, the president or from the government or whatever, like there could be initiatives to increase awareness, free days at museums or something, kind of get that
mm,
spirit back into the people. I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
But so it can kind of trickle down in that way. But I think the architecture is a symbol of a decaying culture because it lacks that. Um, but I also wanted to talk about what you said about Bangkok, that did you find the presence of the shrines to be a question of either beauty or connectedness, or like I imagine it brought something that's lacking from Midtown Manhattan,
Yeah.
and I'm just wondering like how you would word that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't I don't have any deep opinions, but I mean, first of all, it's not pointing to something utilitarian. It's not about
Hmm.
selling something or having that space to store stuff to sell or, or nothing or like an aesthetic thing that might sort of be like bragging for the owner.
Hmm.
Um and yeah, it's pointing to a long tradition of people. There's monks that don't have many worldly possessions who dedicate themselves, and other clergy and followers who dedicate themselves. Even if I didn't know anything about Buddhism, they seem to be dedicating themselves to something other than, yeah, utilitarian things than the worldly, acquiring things, including reputation or status. They seem to be about something else somehow, and they're this guy from 2,500 years ago, Buddha, seems to not exactly be about, you know, just owning a bunch of stuff and trying to get power in the world. I kind of think yeah. So yeah, I just feel like it's hard to mistake it for something, yeah, utilitarian or ugly.
That's really great. Like the pointer of it, the shrines being something that tells the culture that there's more to life than utilitarianism, than getting and spending. And what I see there is like when a culture remembers that there's a higher power, or if you don't like the God language, that there is something beyond just social structure that is higher and that maintains
Yeah.
continuity,
Yeah.
then what you have is you have this line of the eternal or of something close to the eternal
Hmm.
that's there, and then you have the social structure underneath that. And not, so
Mm.
that there's an implication built into there that the social structures may rise and fall. They may grow and
Oh,
decay
yeah.
and they may grow, but there's this other thing. So you have
Yeah.
this placeholder for eternity, and the social structure doesn't have to hold eternity.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
And
that's right.
and when you have a social structure that needs to hold eternity and it can't, it has to double down and it has to double down. And that's exactly what he talks about in that Trickster podcast, that when a society gets locked up like that and cannot die, something will come and kill it. Which is, again, everything has bellies, everything eats. There's this idea of like, I feed so I can feed other people. I eat, I am supported by the planet so that when I die, I can feed something, or so that in my life I can create. I'm given energy so I can create energy, you know. And part of that is dying, part of that is giving, part of that is losing, and when you have a social structure that's able to be born and die, and people still have that spiritual eternity, yeah, whatever, that spiritual level
Hmm.
of the
Yeah.
eternal that they can look to, then they aren't so tight around the social structures.
Yeah. I think that's right. Yeah.
And